belongs to me and my knife. What's below that junction belongs to the horse. The object of the whole exercise in trimming the hoof, either for barefoot trimming or for shoeing, is that the end result must be that we have a correct hoof pastern angle. That's most important. And to explain that, we've got to understand how this thing works. You've got your fetlock joint, your pastern, your coronary band, your hoof capsule or hoof wall, in that order. If we turn this around and have a look through here, open the hoof up, and you'll see the fetlock joint, the long pastern, the short pastern bone. The pastern consists of two bones, long pastern, short pastern, the pedal bone or coffin bone, and a little navicular bone back in there. This is the one that causes a lot of trouble. Behind that navicular bone is the deep flexor tendon that comes down from the back of the knee all the way down. It's much like your Achilles tendon. You've got the same thing. It comes down, wraps over that navicular bone and attaches to the bottom part of the pedal bone. So if we haven't got a correct hoof pastern angle, if the toe is too long and the hoof is setting out like that, it stretches, puts tension on this deep flexor tendon, causes pressure over the navicular bone, and it causes the pedal bone or coffin bone to be pulled downwards against the sole. If you have a look through here also, you'll see that the hoof capsule is an even thickness from the bottom to the top of the coronary band. It should be. This isn't an ideal model. This horse was very sick because he's got one less leg. The way this works is that as the horse puts its weight over the leg, these bones push down against the pedal bone, and in underneath the pedal bone is the digital cushion. And you can see it's set up in there. It's like a cushioning of this pedal bone. The pedal bone is closer to the ground at the tip than it is back at the heel. It's between 3 and 5 degrees raised off ground parallel. So as the leg bone comes through and settles down with weight on it, it sinks. It sinks down into this cushion, the digital cushion. That pushes down onto the frog, and the ground pressure pushes up against the frog and causes the whole hoof to expand this way. And it expands from the tip of the toe back to the heel buttress, outwards, as it's being loaded up with the weight of the horse coming on it. As the horse lifts its weight off, it comes back in again. And so also we must understand that this sole, as the pressure is coming down on it, that sole needs to be concave to allow the sole room to move down as well. As the hoof moves out, the sole sinks. And it sinks only minimally, but it has to be able to sink. And if you hear of anybody leaving sole in the hoof, especially at the toe section, you're going to get bruising in the hoof. And nature has evolved this hoof to be able to bear its weight on the whole of the hoof capsule, from here right around to the other heel. So it's very important when we're trimming a hoof to get this level through here dead flat, so that it bears its weight evenly on the hoof capsule. This hoof wall must never be beveled away from its ground contact. It must be able to carry its weight and to bear weight. This hoof here also, the coronary band must be nice and even and straight around there. You can see this is all pushed up into the areas up into the coronary band and into the lateral and medial cartilages, which are these areas down in here. And there's a cushioning between the hoof capsule and the pedal bone. And that's the way this thing works. So if this hoof is not level and flat, as this one obviously wasn't for a long time, you can see how it's distorted the coronary band and the lateral and medial sides of the hoof. And that's why this horse was very, very lame, because the bottom of the hoof was never kept level, and also it wasn't kept a nice symmetrical shape. It had flares out here and flares out there, which caused length, which pushed the hoof capsule back into the coroning band. So, having understood how then this works, it makes it a whole lot easier for us to get it correct. The centre point of balance in the horse's hoof is 19 millimetres back from the active tip of the frog. And at that point there, it's also the widest part of your hoof. And in the complete, finished, prepared hoof, with a hoof past an angle that is parallel, in the bottom of the hoof, you will have, from this centre point, this 19 mil mark, you will have equal measurements in front as you have to the buttress of the heel. Those two halves will be equal. They'll also be equal across the lateral and medial on the inside and outside edges. Those two there will be equal as well in the correctly balanced hoof. This is what we call balance. And then regardless of whether you're preparing this for barefoot or for shoe preparation, you must have this balance in there. If the hoof is not prepared in a balanced fashion, there is no point in putting a shoe on and expecting the horse to work properly.